My cousin is marrying a cheater and I can't stop her. All the names are changed for privacy. My cousin, Victoria, is a doctor and engaged to another doctor, Victor. Victor and Victoria have been engaged for 2 years now and are finally getting married. The wedding is planned for this Saturday, religious, civil, and reception. They have a friend in common, another doctor, Emily, who is going to be a bridesmaid. You can guess where I am going. This past Friday, Victoria had her bachelorette and we left the city to have a spa day and then returned to the city to go party to this fancy club, but we never made it to the club. We returned from the spa town to Emily's home before getting changed to go party. At some point, Victoria announced she was feeling sick and locked herself in the bathroom. My first thought, obviously, was that something she ate didn't sit well with her. Roughly an hour later, I managed to coax her out and she asked me to take her home. I'm meant to be maid of honor, so taking care of her falls to me. I call an Uber and took her to my place. There she told me everything. When we're dressing, she was in the kitchen, she saw a notification from her fiancé in Emily's phone. She'd left it to charge there. At first she thought it was a surprise planned for her, but then another message came in with a more romantic tone. And another, and another. That's when she got sick and ran to the bathroom. I stayed with her through Friday evening and most of Saturday. Saturday evening I dropped her at her place after she made me promise I wouldn't say a word to anyone. I agreed because I thought she wanted to end things in her own terms. Sunday and Monday were silent, and everything seemed to be moving forward. Today, Tuesday, was out makeup trial, just the two of us, and she told me what happened with Victor. Victoria told him nothing and waited for him to fall asleep. Unblocked his phone and checked it in the bathroom. She found the conversation with Emily's messages and began to read back to the top. They've been together for 6 months and she's pregnant. She's urging Victor not to marry Victoria and marry her instead. Victoria took a bunch of screenshots, but only showed me the one where Emily told Victor she was pregnant and a few of the ones where she begs him not to marry my cousin. I begged her again to cancel everything and tell our family why, but she insists there's going to be a wedding, and that I should trust her. I'm scared for her. How do I stop her? Comment. I think your cousin is planning something. She insists there is going to be a wedding. So, perhaps not a marriage? If she asked you to trust her, do so. Time will tell what she will do or is up to. After all, could be a case of revenge is best served with the wedding cake. She felt sick about discovering this. She followed through to discover more. She took screenshots. It seems she's not in denial about the situation. Why? Why did she ask you to trust her? It seems like she's got something planned. Reveal the situation to their gathered friends and family and anybody invited? Burn his reputation to the ground? Who knows? I would say I do trust you, but I hope you can trust me as well. I would like to be looped into the plan so I can be a sounding board for you. I don't want you to go through this alone. I think at this point in time, all you can do is listen to her when she asks that you trust her. She's taking screenshots for a reason. She may already be planning something. The last thing you want to do is unintentionally mess it up by trying to force her to take an action you think is best for her. She's an adult who has all this information at hand. Let her make her own choices, even if you don't agree they're the best ones. That aside, I will say the next best thing you can do is be there for her. If you really want to help, let her know that you're a safe person she can turn to. And if possible, can provide a safe space for her when/if she needs it. Victoria is fully aware of her fiancé's infidelity, and from your post she is not in denial. You have given her your advice and she obviously has decided how she is going to handle it. You need to let her proceed down her chosen path. If this involves something spectacular at the wedding as some of the other commenters have suggested, you will have a front row seat. Update us afterwards. You don't. You have to step back and let her make her own decisions here, whether that's deciding to go ahead and try to make a life with this person or plotting to dramatically call out her cheating ex at the altar. You can let her know that you love her, you're sorry this is happening, and you want to support her however she needs you to. And then you step back until or unless she asks you for support. No matter what she is planning right now, just support her. This is a terrible thing to go through. I wonder if Emily is actually pregnant or just desperate to stop the wedding. She must have some pretty low self-esteem to accept those crumbs, and he's a piece of garbage with that behavior. You need to trust her. Signs point to a public call out. And if she truly does end up following through, then she's an adult who's made her own conscious decision, and it wouldn't be your place to save her anyway. Next story 2. Caught my husband in a lie for the first time, and I'm spiraling because of it. This is my first post ever, so please excuse any errors in formatting or awkward wording. Also, this got a bit long, so if you read the whole thing, thank you. My husband and I have been together since we were in high school, and we've been married for almost 3 years now, 11 years together. He's been an amazing partner up to this point, and I adored him with all my heart. Lately though, I've felt that he's been distant, but we don't fight or anything. There's just been a bit of a lull in the usually upbeat relationship. Now, I'll admit I've always had major trust issues and can get hung up on little things that, I think, don't add up, so some time ago I connected his phone to my Find My Phone app without his knowledge. Super lame move on my part, I know, but if I don't know for sure where he is, I know my brain will come up with scenarios of its own and they will eat me alive. Last night, my husband told me he'd be coming home late because he had to stay at work a couple hours longer. I checked his location, and my worst fear came true. He was in fact, not at work. He was at some restaurant near his workplace for about an hour before he finally told me he was on his way home. I called him when he was still there, and asked him if he was still in the office, and he said he was. I was gutted and immediately wanted to vomit. I contemplated not asking him about it, but the sinking feeling in my gut was killing me, and I know I could never just let this go. So before bed, I asked him to sit with me to have a serious conversation. I was as calm as I could be and tried my best not to sound accusatory. I just want him to tell the truth, and I told him I won't be angry. He insisted that he was at work, and so I had to ask him again and again to just come clean, and I told him I won't be mad if he just told the truth. He asked me why I even thought he was lying. I said that wasn't the important thing here. After a while, he finally told me he actually went out with some of his work friends, and he didn't want to tell me because he knew I would be mad that he didn't go straight home. I told him that was unfair, that I know I wouldn't be upset if he had just said he wanted to go out with his friends after work for a bit. It still didn't feel right, so I grilled him a little more. After what felt like an eternity, he finally admitted that his manager, female, invited him for coffee after work, and he wasn't with his friends, it was just the two of them. He swore to me that it was only about work, that they were discussing a possibility of him being moved to a different branch or whatever. I didn't ask for details. I want to believe him, but why couldn't they just discuss that sort of thing in the office? Why the 1:1 conversation at a coffee place? I want to trust him, and I told him I will forgive him. I realize that I've lied too during the course of our relationship. He doesn't have a history of being too friendly with other women either, and he has apologized multiple times, telling me he regrets it and will never lie like that again. But this morning I woke up and I just can't see him in the same way. I used to think that he loved me to the point where would never deliberately hurt me, and that he respected me enough to always be honest with me. But right now, I honestly feel like I don't know him. I'm not even mad anymore. I'm just really, really scared. Comment. I have learned the hard way the importance of trusting your gut. If it is telling you something is off, it likely is. Explain to him that his actions have broken your trust. He lied about working late, he lied about where he was, and he lied about who he was with. Why lie if there is nothing to hide? The choice to forgive is up to you, but I'm not so sure you know what exactly it is you are forgiving. The next time his location doesn't match, grab a friend, jump in the car, and show up at the restaurant. Act surprised and introduce yourself. Their body language and response will tell you what you need to know. Yes and no. I am a highly anxious person who developed trust issues due to bad experiences. At first, I could tell when my gut was hinting to something, and most of times I was right. Over time, I ended up building some sort of catastrophist lingering feeling, and my anxiety alarms would go crazy for ridiculous stuff. I would blow up on my partner in a very accusatory and harsh way, and every single time he proved to me that I was overthinking and spiraling. I came to a point where, like I would stalk everything he did and would treat him as guilty until proven innocent. Needless to say, he hated that and caused a lot of damage to our relationship. I went to therapy to address my issues and learned that trust your gut is not always the best course of action when you're extremely anxious and have controlling tendencies, because your gut is not very trustworthy to begin with. When you are a highly anxious person who reads into things, like then no, you cannot always trust your gut. Trusting your gut can be hugely detrimental to a highly anxious person because simply put, their gut instinct is wrong. And to try to reduce this to why lie if he has nothing to hide conveniently ignores the fact that UP seems to have created an environment where her BF feels the need to lie so that he can have a life outside of their relationship. UP admitted that if he goes out after work, she does get upset and tends to sulk. So the question shouldn't be why lie if you have nothing to hide, but what is UP doing in the first place to make him feel like he needs to lie? This sub is absolutely ridiculous. If you were a man who admitted to secretly stalking your partner, you would be getting eviscerated right now. My advice? He lied to you because he knows that you're controlling and jealous and would have never been okay with him spending time with work friends. Tell him you're tracking him without his knowledge so he has all the information necessary to truly evaluate this relationship. Well, the issue here is he was near work. It's entirely possible because they're talking to him about another role or prepping him for that possibility they don't want other people to hear the conversation or know it's happening. And it was only an hour. So okay, I could believe that. The issue is he lied about something innocuous. He could have easily said, hey, I have a work thing I can't avoid, I'll only be an extra hour, but now you're wondering what else he's lying about. Be clear with him about that and ask to track each other's phones so everyone feels secure.